guys, today's video is going to be another part of my makeup collection. Bronzers, blush, and highlights, because I don't have that many, to be honest. Let's start with blush. This blush here is from Sephora. It is a gel blush, Colorful Cheek Ink Gel. It is a really beautiful kind of corally orange color, and it is one of my favorites to wear under like a BB cream or a really light coverage foundation. I put this on first, and then when I blend in my foundation over top, it just gives like a very natural, like beautiful glow. No shimmer in it. It's just a very like matte, I don't know, matte gel. Also a kind of orangey shade. This is a very random brand. It's called Vasanti, that's the brand, and it is in the shade Sun Peached Glow, which is a beautiful orangey coral color. It has the best finish I've ever found on a blush. It is not sparkly, it is not shimmery, and it is not matte. It just has a lovely sheen. So if you can ever get your hands on this Vasanti brand, I know you can get it at some drugstores in Canada. Definitely worth picking up. This is a blush by Essence, which is a very cheap brand. I think I paid $1.99 for this blush, and it's just a very light pinky color. This is in the shade Adorable. Again, it is mostly matte, but it has a slight sheen to it. It's kind of a neutral, cool toned blush, and for $1.99, definitely recommend picking this up. This is a blush by Nyx, and it is in the shade Pastel Chic. It is definitely pastel, almost white, to be honest. It looks a little bit more white on camera than it actually is. To be honest, I don't really use this blush that much. Like, it is just so pastel. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's basically nothing. This is another NYX blush, and it is in the shade Taupe, which is definitely a brown. Like, honestly, it is a brown. It is a contour shade. Well, for me personally, it would be a contour shade. Definitely on the neutral, cool tone. It is very pigmented. So if you're using this to contour, like, you need less than you think you need. This blush I never use, but I think I might start using it as an eyeshadow if I wanted to go for kind of a red look. This is a Nars blush in the shade Almeria, and I think it was limited edition. It was like, I don't know, it has like spider webs on it. I think it was like a Halloween thing. It is beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, look at how beautiful that is, but it's just too dark and too pigmented for me for like every day. But I think this would be a really beautiful like cranberry eyeshadow shade. So I'm glad I dug this out, because I think I'll put it in my eyeshadow drawer. These two blushes are L'Oreal True Match blushes. This is in W12 Bare Honey. Basically, it's like a straight up skin tone. Like, it is not really pink at all. It's just like a very pale honey shade. I like to use this just to give my face like a little bit of color. Like, it's not really a bronzer, it's not really a blush. It just kind of gives you like a shimmery color if you have very fair skin. It does have definitely some shimmer in it. This also True Match blush is in the shade W3-4. Barely Blushing. A little bit warmer of a shade, a little bit rosier of a shade. This one seems to have a little bit more shimmer in it, or at least it looks like it. I don't like to wear it with like a lot of other products on my face. It's just like the perfect like rosy warm blush tone. I think this would work on a lot of different skin tones for sure. This blush I depotted, but it is the Tarte Exposed blush. It is such a beautiful natural pink color. Again, it's just one of those things where you just want to have a little bit of blush on your skin. I don't like to wear like multiple cheek products because it just looks too much. But this blush is so pretty. Like, if you've been wanting to try a Tarte blush and you like a more natural, like mauvey look, this is definitely the shade to go with. And this blush here is also depotted. It is MAC Harmony, which is kind of like a rosy taupe color. I used to use this for contouring, definitely on the brown scale, but if you have a light hand with it, it's beautiful. Okay, on to bronzers. You guys have probably seen me talk about many of these bronzers before. I do have a video like bronzers for pale skin that I will link below, but I do have a few more than that. So this one is depotted. It is Sephora Los Cabos bronzer, a very matte neutral bronzer. I really love the color of this bronzer. It reminds me of Benefit Hoola, but not quite as like yellowy. The Sephora bronzers are definitely underrated. I really like them. This bronzer is by ColourPop. It is in the shade Bon Voyage. It's like one of their gel creamy formulas. It looks pretty neutral in the pan, but definitely comes out warmer. You can see it on my finger right there. It does have a little bit of an orange undertone to it, but I love the formula so much. It's definitely matte and very, very natural, easy to blend. The product is so good, you guys. This is the Bourgeois Bronzing Primer. It smells so good. I don't even know what it smells like. Lemon, coconut, chocolate all mixed together. It is a gel formula. I like to use this with a sponge or with like a stippling brush. It dries very matte, and it's called a primer as if you're supposed to put it all over your face before foundation. I like to do that. It gives a very natural look, but I just put it like where the sun would hit me. But you can also use this on top of foundation for sure. It's a little bit orangey, but I still really like it, and the smell is addicting. This bronzer I love. It's kind of a bronzer and blush. It is the Clarins Bronzing and Blush Compact. It has like a few different shades there and then like a peachy shade in the middle, and it's really good for just mixing all the shades together with like a large brush and just brushing it all over your face. This is one of my favorite products to use because, like I said, don't like to use multiple products on my face, and this kind of gives me like a 2-in-1. Has some shimmer in it, but it's not super shimmery. This is the Covergirl Trublend Bronzer. It kind of has that like baked look, if you know what I mean. It's very shimmery, but the color is gorgeous. So soft to the touch, and I just love it. Like, I think right now I'm too pale to use this, but I think if you have medium skin, this would just be amazing. Like, it's just such a beautiful color. It's definitely kind of a goldy bronze look, but it's very beautiful. This is the Pixie Bronzer in the shade Summertime, and this used to be so popular, but I totally see why. It is the perfect kind of cool tone bronze. It does have a shimmer sheen to it. It's just gorgeous if you like that kind of shade. I think people with fair skin and people with dark skin would really, really like this bronzer. This is the Maybelline Dream Sun. I have been using this a ton lately. I did a little mini review on it. It's a very light shade. This one is 01 Light Bronze. It's kind of like a very pale peachy bronze, and it's perfect if you have really pale skin and you're just looking for like a wash of like peachy like color to your face, not really so much bronzer. It is matte, but I think the two shades that are darker than this have a little bit of shimmer in it. And this one also smells so good. It kind of smells like sunscreen, but like a good sunscreen. Anyway, I'm wearing it on my cheeks right now. A similar bronzer is the Rimmel Natural Bronzer. If you haven't tried this, definitely give it a go. It's darker than the Maybelline Dream Sun that I was just talking about. Gorgeous. Like, it says it's waterproof. I mean, I don't know if I've ever worn it in the water. This is in the shade 02 Sunlight. It's orange in the pan, but it's really not orange at all. I mean, maybe it is a little bit orange, but I still really like the shade of this like on my skin. Like, it looks very natural. This is another Sephora bronzer in Bora. This one actually does have a little bit of shimmer in it. Honestly, like, I swatched this beside the Nars Laguna in Sephora, and I felt like they were so similar, and this one was a lot cheaper, so I bought this one instead. I have tried the Nars Laguna. I did own it at one point, and I ran it until hit pan, nothing, zero product left. I used to be my holy grail, but this one was so similar that the next time I went to buy it, I just got this instead. So if you're looking for a dupe for Nars Laguna, definitely Sephora Bora. This is a new one to my collection, and I can't say I really love it. It is the Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Talc-Free Bronzer, and to be honest, it just is not the right shade. All right, like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just isn't the right shade for me. It just, I don't know what it is. When I swatch it, it just looks kind of muddy orange. I'm definitely interested in trying the Butter Bronzer. If I can get my hands on it, it's always sold out. This is the Bobbi Brown Natural Bronzer. I have the shade Natural 1. One I love. It's a very reddy brown, but it looks very, very natural. A lot of skin tones can wear this color. If you're really pale, just have a really light hand, but it really mimics the natural, like, oh, in the sun, giving you color, because it does have that kind of red undertone. This is the last bronzer I own right now. This is the Hard Candy Baked Bronzer in the shade Tiki, which is the lightest one. I think people with darker skin tones can use this as a highlighter. It would actually be gorgeous as a highlighter. It's just a little bit too dark for me personally to wear as a highlighter without it like looking a little bit too gold. It definitely has a lot of shimmer in it, but I do like to wear this on its own because I do think it gives me a little bit of like shimmery color all over my face, kind of like a glowy almost bronzer. Now highlighters I don't mess around with. I am very, very particular when it comes to them, and I only own what, 3 right now? I mean, I use this like white Rimmel eyeshadow as a highlighter all the time, but it's not really a highlighter, so I didn't include it. I'm very picky with them. I don't buy them because I often can never find a shade that's like bright or white enough to actually be considered a highlighter on my skin. This one here is the ColourPop Fanny pack. So it's kind of like that gel texture. Definitely has shimmer in it. Reminds me of the Becca highlighter in, I think it's the shade Pearl, like bright white sparkly kind of thing. Honestly, this is such a dupe, it's ridiculous. It's like $5 or $6 or something, and the Becca one is like 50 or whatever it is, 30, 40, 50, whatever. This one here is a new one in my collection. I am wearing it right now, and it is the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish in Lightscapade. As you can see, is definitely like an iridescence, but I mean, you don't really notice the blue and pink and yellow. It's just kind of like an off-white, so it's not quite bright white, but it is like white enough that it shines white on my skin. It kind of just gives you that like beautiful wet thing. This is a very like sheeny kind of thing, and it does have very fine shimmer in it, but I don't find that there's like any shimmer noticeable. It's just kind of sheeny and glowy, and I think this is like a little bit more played down than like say the Becca highlighters. Those are like so shimmery, sparkly that to me they're like not really wearable. Like they just don't look natural. This to me, like if you're looking for a more natural highlighter, not so shimmery, not so sparkly, not so intense, but you still want to have that like, you know, a little bit of pop there, this one would definitely be my recommendation. And the last highlighter is this Hard Candy Candlelit duo. There's like 2 shades there. Like this one's a little bit more rosy, a little bit darker. This one's a little bit more white. And these are amazing, guys. These remind me of like the Hourglass Ambient powders, except for these ones are like way more natural, a little bit more matte, if you know what I mean. They're not at all shimmery. They just have like this, like, I don't even know, glow to them that's so gorgeous. Like these are some of my favorite highlights. Very, very, like I said, if you can picture a matte highlighter, it's definitely this. Anyway, that concludes my highlighter, bronzer, and blush collection. Hopefully this kind of gave you an idea of maybe some things you might want to try, or maybe some things you might want to avoid. I already did a foundation collection, kind of little mini reviews, and if I would repurchase each one of them, so I will link that video down below as well. So like I said, I'll be doing one for like primers and powders, and I'll probably put like eyeshadows in there as well because I don't have a lot of eyeshadow, and then I'll do a separate one for lipsticks. Stay tuned for those. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Comment down below whatever you want, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.